What you're about to hear has been kept secret for over 4 decades. Only 14 people knew what Muhammad Ali did on that freezing Chicago night in January 1978. Not his trainers, not the press, not even his closest family members. Today, I will tell you the never-before-heard story of a sacrifice Muhammad Ali made that changed everything he thought he knew about being a champion. It was 2:47 a.m. when the phone rang in Ali's hotel suite at the Palmer House. The greatest was in Chicago for a promotional appearance, his career visibly declining after brutal wars with Frazier and Foreman. His hands shook when he signed autographs. His speech had slowed. At 36, the invincible warrior was becoming mortal. The voice belonged to Dr. Patricia Morrison, head of pediatric oncology at Chicago Memorial Hospital. She had a patient, a 10-year-old boy named Marcus Wheeler, who had been fighting leukemia for 3 years. Marcus had given up. He had stopped eating, stopped speaking, stopped fighting. The doctors gave him less than 72 hours. But Marcus had one hero, one poster on his hospital room wall, one name he would whisper, Muhammad Ali. Dr. Morrison had tried every channel to reach Ali's management, blocked by handlers protecting the champion from thousands of requests. This call was her last attempt. She had bribed a hotel clerk for the room number. Ali listened in silence. Then he said 5 words. "I'll be there in 20 minutes. His bodyguard, Pat Patterson, protested. Ali had an 8 a.m. interview. He needed rest. His Parkinson's symptoms, not yet publicly diagnosed, were worse when exhausted. Going out at 3 a.m. into Chicago's January cold was medical suicide. Ali ignored him. He dressed quickly, heavy coat over his pajamas. Patterson knew that tone. He had heard it before Ali refused the army. When Muhammad Ali decided something was right, mountains couldn't move him. The drive took 18 minutes through empty streets covered in black ice. Ali sat silent, staring at the frozen city. Patterson later said he had never seen the champion so focused. Ali was preparing for a fight, but this was a fight against something he couldn't hit, an opponent that didn't care about his speed or power. This was a fight against death itself, and Ali was stepping in with a weapon he rarely used, his vulnerability. Dr. Morrison met them at a side entrance. No press, no cameras. She led them through sterile hallways, past rooms, where children fought battles that would never make headlines. They stopped outside room 407. Through the window, Ali could see a small figure barely making an impression under thin blankets. The poster on the wall showed Ali in his prime after defeating Liston. The man in the poster looked nothing like the man in the hallway. Dr. Morrison briefed him. Marcus hadn't spoken in 4 days, refused all treatment. His parents were broken. Ali's hand trembled, reaching for the door, not from his condition, but from something deeper. Patterson saw tears forming, something he had only seen twice before. "What if I can't help him?" Ali whispered. The first time Patterson had heard fear in his voice. This was the man who stared down Liston, who taunted Foreman, who refused the U.S. government. But facing a dying child terrified him like no opponent ever had. Dr. Morrison touched his arm. "You're already helping him. You showed up." Ali pushed open the door. The room was dim, lit only by medical monitors. Marcus's parents, James and Carol Wheeler, looked up with hollow eyes. When they saw Muhammad Ali walk in at 3:15 a.m., Carol's legs gave out. James caught her, both frozen in disbelief. Ali moved past them, eyes locked on the small figure. Marcus lay motionless, skin pale, arms thin as branches, his eyes open but empty. The champion pulled a chair close. For a long moment, he just looked at the boy. Then Ali did something no one expected. He began to cry. Not celebrity tears for a photo. These were tears of a man confronting his own mortality through a child's dying body. Ali had been hit by the hardest punchers in history, but nothing had broken him like this. "Marcus," he said softly. "Marcus, look at me." The boy's eyes didn't move. Ali took Marcus's small hand in his large, battered one. Fingers that had delivered punches echoing across continents now held this fragile hand with infinite gentleness. "I know you're tired. I know you want to stop fighting. I understand that, Marcus." Then something happened that Dr. Morrison would call medically impossible. Marcus's fingers twitched. Barely. But Ali felt it. The champion leaned closer. "You know what makes a real champion? It's not about never getting knocked down. I've been knocked down. Frazier put me on the canvas. Norton broke my jaw. A champion gets up one more time than he gets knocked down. Just one more time." Marcus's eyes moved, slightly, toward Ali's voice. Carol Wheeler gasped. "There you are," Ali said, tears flowing. "There's my champion." What happened next would be remembered forever. Ali began to perform, not for cameras, for an audience of one. He started shadow boxing, movements slow and exaggerated. "You see this? This is the Ali Shuffle. I invented this, Marcus. Nobody in boxing history had moved like this." His feet moved in that familiar patter, though slower now. Marcus's head turned. Barely, but it turned. Ali talked about his greatest fights, acting them out in the tiny room. He demonstrated dodging Foreman's punches. He showed the rope-a-dope. Then he did something that shocked everyone. He talked about his losses. "You want to know a secret, Marcus? When I was getting ready to fight Frazier, I was scared, really scared. And you know what? He beat me, knocked me down in the 15th round. I lost. The undefeated champion lost." Ali sat back down, depleted. "When I got back to my hotel that night, I cried, just like now. I thought my life was over." Marcus's lips moved. No sound, but they moved. "But you know what I learned? Losing didn't make me less of a champion. It made me more of one, because I had to decide, stay down or get back up. And I got back up, Marcus. I won my title back. Twice." He leaned in close. "Now you're in the hardest fight of your life, harder than any fight I ever had. This opponent is tough, tougher than Frazier, tougher than Foreman." He squeezed Marcus's hand. "But I see a fighter when I look at you. I see a champion, and champions don't quit. Can you get up one more time?" Marcus's mouth opened. His lips struggled. His mother rushed forward with water. Then, in a voice almost lost in the equipment hum, Marcus spoke his first words in 4 days. "Are you really Muhammad Ali?" The room erupted. Carol sobbed. James collapsed into a chair. Dr. Morrison's composure shattered. 2 nurses in the doorway embraced. Ali smiled through tears. "I'm really Muhammad Ali, and you're really Marcus Wheeler, and we're both fighters, so we're making a deal right now." He unpinned the World Championship photograph from the wall. He took a pen and wrote on the back, "To Marcus Wheeler, the bravest fighter I ever met, your champion, Muhammad Ali, January 17th, 1978. "This is yours now," Ali said. "But here's the deal. You fight, you eat, you take your medicine, and when you beat this thing, when, not if, you come find me and tell me about it. Deal?" Marcus held the photograph against his chest. "Deal," he whispered. Ali stayed 2 more hours. He told stories. He made Marcus laugh, actual laughter from a child who had forgotten how. He talked to Marcus's parents, holding Carol's hand while she wept. He spoke with nurses, signing autographs, bringing light into darkness. At 5:30 a.m., as dawn touched Chicago's skyline, Ali stood to leave. Marcus was eating Jell-O, his first food in days. His eyes were clear, focused, present. Dr. Morrison walked Ali to his car. The champion moved slowly, exhausted. His hands shook violently. "What you did tonight, there's no medical explanation," she said quietly. "We couldn't reach him, but you did." Ali shook his head. "I didn't do anything special. I just showed up. That's all any of us can do." Patterson drove him back in silence. Ali fell asleep in the back seat, head against the cold window. He missed his 8 a.m. interview. His handlers were furious. He never told them why. Marcus Wheeler survived. Against all odds, he responded to treatment. His condition stabilized. It took years, but he survived. The story remained secret. Dr. Morrison honored Ali's request. The Wheelers told no one. The nurses signed non-disclosure agreements. For decades, only 14 people knew. Marcus graduated high school in 1986. He attended college. He became a pediatric nurse in the same hospital where Ali visited him. He married, had children, built a life medical science said he would never have. In 1996, when Ali lit the Olympic torch in Atlanta, hands trembling with Parkinson's, body betraying him but spirit unbreakable, Marcus Wheeler sat in the stands holding that photograph, crying tears of gratitude for a champion who had once cried tears of compassion in a hospital room at 3 a.m. Muhammad Ali never spoke publicly about that night. When asked about his greatest achievement, he talked about winning the heavyweight title 3 times. He mentioned his stand against Vietnam, but he never mentioned Marcus Wheeler. Because for Ali, that wasn't an achievement to broadcast. It was simply what you did. You showed up. You fought for people who couldn't fight for themselves. You gave everything, even when cameras weren't watching. Especially when cameras weren't watching. That's what made Muhammad Ali the greatest. Not just speed, power, or victories, but his willingness to step into the ring with the hardest opponent, human suffering, and fight with nothing but his presence, his tears, and his truth. The secret hospital visit revealed something the world rarely saw. Beneath the bravado and legend was a man who understood pain, fear, and mortality. A man who channeled his struggles into strength for others. A man who proved true. Greatness isn't measured in championships, but in quiet moments when you show up for someone who needs you. That's the Muhammad Ali story they never told you. The fight that never made headlines. The victory only 14 people witnessed, but perhaps his most important one. Because on that frozen Chicago night, Muhammad Ali didn't just save a boy's life, he showed us what it truly means to be a champion.